I usually teach high school, and so I've always told myself that I was going to teach younger kids as well. So this gives me a chance to work with first and second graders. The students get a chance to do all the fun experiments here at camp.
You get to do a lot of stuff. It's very fun, and it has a lot of fun stuff to do, and it has a lot of experiments.
I knew from a very young age I was going to be a teacher, and then specifically science, specifically biology, has always been my favorite. The ability to just, even here at the Substance Center, walk out in the woods and go for a hike and listen for the different birds. Well, each time the student finds something that they'll say, wow, this is really cool, and then we start talking a little bit more about it. What does it look like? What are your observations? Why do you think the insect needs 6 legs, or why do you think it needs wings? And so they can start to put things a little bit more into context and connect things a little bit into a bigger picture.
Today we made volcanoes.
We had a cup and a plate around it, and we chose a color, and then she put the 2 drops of food coloring into our cup.
It was cool that when you pour the vinegar in, it would just make them explode.
And the other day we did slime.
The one that we made with Elmer's glue was the slimiest, but after we put it in the container and let it sit for a while, it wasn't that slimy anymore.
And then the other one was this like green, what I did was the green liquidy slime. They got to choose their color out of red, yellow, green, and blue. I chose green.
We went on a couple of field trips that were really cool. We did a human science one, so they got to learn about nutrition. We also went to a reptile house and they got to pet some animals.
Lizards, snakes, there were some frogs, and there were tarantulas. We got to go to a room where you could touch stuff. You could touch a turtle, a lizard, and a snake.
They're doing a lot of different experiments with kind of slimy, eruptions.
I like doing science experiments and testing things. There were these little cups. Then you poured this magic crystal powder in it, and then you put the trees in this little spot that holds them up and forming crystals on the sides. There were little marks of colors, so it would make the crystal that color.
We had a big piece of paper. She set ink pads and all kinds of animal tracks like ducks, pheasants, squirrels, hedgehogs, skunks. Then you would take the animals, you would dip it in the ink pad, then you would stamp on your paper. I did a pheasant, wood duck, and deer.
And no matter which camp they take, I think they have a good experience with learning to work with students from other districts. Here we have a mixture of all the different districts at the summer camps, so they get to meet each other sooner, and they get the opportunity again to explore new things. We have wonderful field trips that all of the instructors take the students to, and the experiments, each one focuses on something a little bit different. We focused on scientist tools this time. And so what does a scientist actually need compared to that of a hairdresser or a carpenter or a teacher?
They really like going on walks. We'll walk on trails and stuff, and they get to use these magnifying glass to look at bugs. They really liked building the robots, but that was pretty challenging because there were a bunch of pieces to it and a lot of instructions.
It walked, and we got to build it ourselves.
And we had to put the solar panel on them so they could move by themselves. It collects the sun's energy, makes the robot move.
It's nice to continue the learning, to be able to remember that the learning doesn't just take place in the classroom. It can take place here at a nature center or at camp. And then just to make sure that they're keeping up with just the general idea of the rules of the camp and the rules of school, and being able to say what you're thinking on writing or in drawing, being able to express yourself.
I think you learn more doing hands-on stuff than just sitting in class and reading. But they also get to learn a lot too, and I don't think they realize that they're learning because the experiments and stuff are really fun. So I think it's great that they get to do a lot of sciencey stuff and they get to have fun with it. We do one big project and then we do a bunch of other small ones, but they're all like really fun. So we get a lot done in the week and they get to experience a lot of different things. So I guess I would definitely suggest doing this camp because Elizabeth's great. She's great at working with the kids. Even though she's a high school teacher, she really handles them well, and it's a lot of fun. She plans different stuff every year, so even if you do come back, you kind of get different experiences.
Since it helps me with science, it would help me when I do a science class.
It's just always important for the students to remember how exciting science can be. Sometimes we get down to the technical part, and instead, if we can do all the fun and exciting experiments. I've had students here this week who have said that they're going to definitely be a scientist and they are definitely going to do something in human anatomy and physiology. So that's nice to hear that they have a goal, they have a purpose and something to look forward to.